The glass walls of the penthouse shimmered under the late evening glow of Manhattan. High above the city, the hum of traffic was muted, nothing but a distant murmur beneath the billionaire's domain. Inside, the apartment looked less like a home and more like a gallery: cold marble floors, abstract art, perfectly arranged furniture that looked untouched. At the center of it all stood Ethan Blackwell. At 45. Ethan was the kind of man who carried power in the set of his shoulders, in the way his words seemed to cut through air like glass. Black suit, no tie, top button undone, always appearing as though he had just stepped out of a Forbes magazine cover shoot. His eyes were sharp, a pale blue that missed nothing. Yet tonight, they held an emptiness, the kind of emptiness that came from loss. It had been 6 years since his wife, Isabella, had died. The newspapers had called it tragic, the yacht accident off the coast of Miami, a freak storm, a sudden capsize. Her body never recovered. For weeks, divers searched the waters, but she had been declared legally dead. Ethan had buried her memory with a closed casket funeral. He had stood stone-faced while the press cameras flashed, while whispers circled about how the billionaire would move on. But he hadn't. Not really. Isabella had been the only one who softened him, the only person who called him out on his arrogance, who saw the man beneath the empire. Without her, his life was a sterile checklist of board meetings, acquisitions, and endless late nights staring out at a city that gave him everything except peace. And then came that night. The penthouse elevator chimed, and Cameron, his head of security, entered. A hulking man in his 50s, built like he'd never quite left the Marines behind. "Sir," Cameron said carefully, "there's someone downstairs. Claims she has information about your wife." Ethan's head snapped up, a flash of irritation breaking through his mask. "Another one?" "Yes," Cameron admitted. "We get them every year, don't we? Conspiracists, attention seekers, scammers. But," he hesitated, "this one's different. She's young. Claims she's seen Isabella recently." Ethan let out a bitter laugh. "Isabella has been dead for 6 years. These people don't give up, do they?" Cameron shifted uncomfortably. "She wouldn't leave until I told you. Says it's a matter of life and death. I can send her away." "If you want." Ethan's instinct was to say yes, to shut it down, the way he always did. But something, maybe boredom, maybe the ache of unsolved grief, made him pause. "Fine," he muttered. "Bring her up. I'll give her 5 minutes." When the elevator doors opened again, Ethan expected some middle-aged conspiracy theorist, clutching photoshopped pictures. Instead, a young black woman stepped inside. She couldn't have been more than 25. Her hair was tied back in a loose bun, her clothes plain worn jeans and a faded hoodie that looked 2 sizes too big. She carried no purse, no folder, nothing. Her hands were clenched nervously. But her eyes were steady. Cameron lingered in the background as Ethan studied her. "You have 5 minutes," Ethan said flatly. "Say whatever it is you came here to say." The girl swallowed hard, then spoke. "Your wife is still alive." The words hung in the air like a slap. Ethan narrowed his eyes. He'd heard that line before, countless times, but something about the way she said it, quiet, unwavering, made his chest tighten. "You've wasted my time," he said coldly. "My wife drowned. Her body was never recovered, but the Coast Guard confirmed it. Unless you have evidence, this conversation is over. I saw her," the girl pressed. "Not 6 years ago. Last month, in Atlanta." Ethan's jaw tensed. "What's your name?" "Naomi Carter," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "And why?" Ethan said, rising to his full height. "Should I believe a word you're saying?" Naomi's lips trembled, but she didn't back down. She stepped forward, eyes glassy but determined. "Because she's being kept against her will, and if you don't help her, she's going to die." Ethan stared at her, his pulse quickening despite himself. "Prove it." Naomi hesitated. She reached into her hoodie pocket slowly. Cameron's hand went to his gun, but she only pulled out a small object, a silver locket. Ethan froze. He knew that locket. He had given it to Isabella on their wedding day, engraved with the date and their initials. The Coast Guard had told him it was lost to the sea. And yet here it was, in Naomi's trembling hand. "Where did you get this?" Ethan demanded, his voice sharp with a mix of rage and disbelief. Naomi's eyes welled up. "From her. She begged me to find you." Ethan snatched the locket, fingers shaking as he flipped it open. Inside was the tiny photograph he remembered him. And Isabella on the beach, smiling, carefree. The hinges were worn, the surface scratched, but it was real. For the first time in years, Ethan felt the floor tilt beneath him. Why would she be in Atlanta? He whispered, almost to himself. Naomi's voice dropped. "Because the people holding her, they move around. They don't want her found. But she's alive, Mr. Blackwell, and she's running out of time." Ethan turned away, pacing. His logical mind screamed impossible. But logic didn't explain the locket. Didn't explain the sincerity in Naomi's eyes. "You expect me to believe," he said slowly, "that one of the wealthiest, most well-connected women in the country has been alive this whole time, and no one knew?" Naomi's voice hardened. "You didn't know because someone powerful wanted her gone. Someone with resources. She's not in some basement chained to a wall. She's trapped in plain sight. Moved from place to place. Watched. Controlled." Ethan spun back toward her. "Then tell me who's holding her?" Naomi's throat bobbed. She looked down. I can't say yet. Not here. But I can take you to her." The silence stretched. Ethan's mind raced. If Naomi was telling the truth, it meant everything he'd believed, the grief, the funeral, the years of emptiness was built on a lie. If she was lying, she was playing the most dangerous con imaginable. Cameron stepped forward, voice low. "Sir, let me vet her. We'll check her background, see who she really is." Ethan waved him off. His voice was low, dangerous. "Naomi, if this is some game, if you're trying to scam me for money, I swear you'll regret it." Naomi's chin trembled, but she lifted it. "I don't want your money. I just want to save her." The clock ticked loudly in the silence. Outside, the city glowed with neon and headlights, oblivious to the storm brewing in the penthouse. Finally, Ethan spoke. "You said she's in Atlanta. Prove it. Show me." Naomi hesitated. "I can't do it tonight. It's not safe. But if you come with me tomorrow quietly, I'll take you to her." Ethan studied her for a long moment, his mind spinning with equal parts fury, hope, and suspicion. He didn't trust easily, he trusted no one. But the weight of the locket in his palm made it impossible to dismiss her. "Cameron," Ethan said. At last, his voice sharp, "Clear my schedule, discreetly, and get the jet ready." Naomi's eyes widened. "You're coming?" Ethan's jaw clenched. "If my wife is alive, I'm not wasting another second." That night, Ethan lay awake in his king-sized bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in years, the memory of Isabella's laugh echoed in his mind, not like a ghost, but like a promise. He wanted to believe. God, he wanted to believe. But he also knew the world he lived in. Power meant enemies, secrets, betrayals. And if Naomi was right, it meant someone had stolen 6 years of his life. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message from Cameron. Background on Naomi Carter. Born in Atlanta, 23. No criminal record. Works as a waitress, mother deceased, father unknown. Nothing suspicious on the surface. Ethan exhaled. Clean, ordinary. Maybe too ordinary. He set the phone down, his fingers brushing the locket on the nightstand. It's cold metal pressed into two. His skin grounding him. Tomorrow, he would know the truth. The following afternoon, Ethan's private jet cut through the clouds, leaving Manhattan behind. Naomi sat across from him, her hands folded tightly in her lap. She looked out of place against the leather seats and polished wood like a stray cat smuggled into a palace. Ethan didn't take his eyes off her the entire flight. "You still haven't told me who's holding her." Naomi met his gaze, fear flickering in her eyes. "Because if I say the name out loud, we'll both be dead before we land." Ethan's fingers curled into fists. "You're playing a dangerous game." Naomi leaned forward, her voice low and urgent. "So are you, but if you really loved her, you'll see this through." Ethan's throat tightened. He said nothing. The jet began its descent into Atlanta. Outside the window, the city stretched out, sprawling highways, glass towers, and neighborhoods stitched together by winding roads. Somewhere down there, if Naomi was right, Isabella was alive, and if that was true, Ethan Blackwoo was about to burn the world to bring her home. The black SUV pulled away from Atlanta's private airfield under a gray sky. Ethan sat in the back seat, his gaze fixed on Naomi in the passenger seat. Cameron drove, his jaw tight, eyes scanning every vehicle they passed as though expecting trouble. Ethan had been in countless negotiations, sat across from world leaders and ruthless CEOs. But this sitting in a rental car with a girl barely old enough to rent one herself was different. The stakes weren't measured in dollars. They were measured in blood, in truth, in the 6 years of his life that had been stolen. Naomi's hands fidgeted in her lap. Finally she said softly, "I know you don't trust me. You shouldn't. But everything I'm risking right now, it's for her." Ethan's voice was ice. "Then start talking. Who has her?" Naomi swallowed. Her voice dropped so low Cameron had to glance at her through the mirror just to hear. "Her captors, they're not just criminals, they're connected. Politicians, businessmen, law enforcement. The kind of people who make sure nobody asks questions." Isabella stumbled onto something she shouldn't have. And instead of killing her, they locked her away. Ethan's brows furrowed. What could Isabella have possibly discovered that would make people keep her hidden instead of dead? Naomi's eyes darted to him. "That's what she wanted to tell you." But they silenced her before she could. Cameron's knuckles tightened on the wheel. This is sounding like conspiracy theory garbage. But Ethan said nothing. His mind was caught on Naomi's words. Isabella had been philanthropic, deeply involved in charities, investigations into corruption, environmental damage. She had enemies, yes, but enough to orchestrate her disappearance? Enough to bury the truth for 6 years? He didn't want to believe it. Yet the locket in his pocket burned against his palm like proof. Naomi guided them into a quiet, run-down neighborhood on the outskirts of the city. Abandoned houses sagged with decay, paint peeling, windows boarded. Cameron slowed, eyeing the streets warily. "Pull over," Naomi said abruptly. Cameron parked. Naomi turned in her seat, her face pale. "Listen to me. Where I'm taking you, it's dangerous. They don't keep her in one place for long. I only know tonight's location because I clean there sometimes. They think I'm invisible. Where is she?" Ethan pressed. Naomi hesitated, then whispered, "A mansion. 15 minutes from here. Belongs to Senator Richard Harlan." Ethan's head snapped toward her. "Harlan?" Cameron cursed under his breath. Jesus Christ. Ethan knew that name all too well. Harlan was a powerful figure in Washington, loud, charismatic, untouchable. He'd been a guest in Ethan's home once. Smiled across a dinner table, shook Isabella's hand. The idea of him being involved in her disappearance was unthinkable. And yet, it explained everything. The reach, the secrecy, the silence. Naomi nodded, her voice trembling. "He hides her there when he visits Atlanta. In the basement. But she's not alone. There are guards, cameras. If you walk in blind, you'll never walk out." Ethan's stomach churned with rage. "Then we'll plan." They pulled into an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. Cameron killed the engine. Inside, Dust and broken glass covered the floor, light streaming through cracks in the ceiling. Naomi spread out a crude hand-drawn map on an overturned crate. This is the layout. Kitchen here, main hall here. Guards usually post in the east wing, near the staircase. The basement entrance is hidden behind a locked pantry door. Ethan leaned over, studying it. How do you know all this? Naomi's voice faltered. Because I used to clean for them. They paid me cash, said it was just housework. But one night I heard crying, a woman's voice. I followed it. Her eyes welled with tears. She was there, Isabella. She was weak, but when she saw me, she begged me to take the locket. She said, "Find Ethan." I couldn't just walk away. Ethan's chest tightened, the image burning into his mind. Isabella, alive, begging. A stranger to reach him. His throat went dry. Cameron's skepticism was fading into grim resolve. He set his hands on the crate. "All right, if this is real, we can't storm in like cowboys. We'll need eyes on the place first. Check guard. Rotations, cameras. Get you inside without tipping them off." Naomi shook her head quickly. "No, you don't understand. Harlan's scheduled to fly back to D.C. tomorrow. They'll move her again tonight. If we don't act now, you'll lose her." The words hit like a punch. Ethan's decision crystallized. He looked at Cameron, his voice firm. "We go in tonight." Cameron exhaled sharply. "Then we need gear. Guns comes, blackout clothes. This isn't a rescue mission, it's a war." Ethan's lips curled into something fierce. "Then let's start one." Hours later, under the cover of night, the black SUV crept up a tree-lined driveway. At the end sat a sprawling Southern mansion, white pillars, wraparound porch, glowing windows. Elegant, picturesque, and inside, if Naomi was telling the truth, was Isabella. Ethan crouched in the woods with Cameron and Naomi. The billionaire was dressed in dark clothing, a pistol holstered at his hip. It felt alien, heavy. He hadn't held a gun in years, not since a long-forgotten hunting trip. But his hands were steady. Cameron handed him an earpiece. "Stay behind me. We move fast, no mistakes." Ethan nodded once. His pulse thundered. Naomi whispered, pointing to the side of the house. "There, service entrance, less guarded." Through binoculars, Cameron scanned the grounds. 2 men with rifles patrolled lazily near the porch. Another lingered near the garage. Inside, shadows moved behind curtains. "This isn't just a senator's security detail," Cameron muttered. "These are professionals." Ethan's jaw set. "Then we outthink them." The infiltration began. They crept along the side of the house, shadows among shadows. Cameron moved with soldier's precision, signaling when to stop, when to move. Naomi stayed low, her breath shallow. Ethan followed, adrenaline sharpening every sound: the crunch of gravel, the hum of crickets, the distant laughter of guards. At the service door, Cameron knelt, picking the lock in seconds. The door clicked open. Inside, the kitchen was immaculate granite. Counters, stainless steel appliances, the faint scent of lemon cleaner. It felt obscene, knowing what was hidden beneath this perfect facade. They moved quickly down the hall. Naomi led them to the pantry, her hand trembling as she reached for the shelves. She pressed against a panel. With a soft click, a hidden door cracked open. The air changed instantly, damp, cold, heavy. A staircase spiraled down into darkness. Ethan's breath caught. "Stay quiet," Naomi whispered. The basement was dimly lit, lined with concrete walls and a single bulb swinging overhead. A heavy steel door stood at the far end. Ethan's heart pounded as Naomi pressed her ear to it. She nodded. "She's inside." Cameron stepped forward, gun raised. "Stand back." He eased the door open, and the sight that met them froze Ethan's world. In the center of the room sat a woman. Her hair, once golden and full, now hung in tangled strands. Her skin was pale, fragile. A thin blanket was draped around her shoulders, her frame frighteningly thin. Chains clinked softly at her wrists, but her eyes, those deep, warm brown eyes, lifted and met his. Ethan's breath shattered in his chest. "Isabella." Her lips parted, a hoarse whisper escaping. "Ethan?" He stumbled forward, knees nearly buckling. The years, the grief, the funeral, all of it crumbled in an instant. She was here, alive. Tears blurred his vision as he dropped to her side, cupping her face in trembling hands. "I thought I lost you." Her fingers curled weakly around his wrist. They wouldn't let me go." Naomi's voice cracked. "We don't have time. We have to move now." But before Ethan could speak, Cameron's hand shot up. He froze, listening. Footsteps, heavy, fast, coming down the stairs. The steel door slammed shut behind them. Locks clicked. Ethan's head whipped around, rage surging. "No!" a voice echoed from the other side of the door. Cold, confident. Well, Ethan Blackwell. "I was wondering when you'd finally take the bait." Ethan's blood ran cold. He knew that voice. Senator Richard Harlan. The footsteps retreated, and a mocking laugh trailed after them. Ethan pounded the steel door with his fists, his voice raw. "Coward, open this door." Cameron grabbed his shoulder. "Stop, he's sealing us in. We need another way out." Naomi's face was pale with terror. He knew we were coming. Ethan turned back to Isabella, his fury boiling over. "What did he do to you? Why you?" Her voice cracked, weak but urgent. "Ethan, he's part of something bigger, a network. Blackmail, trafficking, money laundering, I found out. I tried to expose him. He couldn't kill me without raising suspicion, so he kept me hidden." Ethan's mind reeled, the truth crashing down. It wasn't just about Isabella, it was about power, corruption, an empire built on silence. Cameron searched the walls, his voice sharp. "Help me look. There's always another exit in basements like this." Naomi rushed to the far corner, tapping along the concrete. "Here's something hollow." Together, they shoved against a section of wall. It groaned, then swung open to reveal a narrow tunnel. Ethan scooped Isabella into his arms. She was frail, light as a child, but alive. His jaw tightened. "Where?" "Getting out of here." They plunged into the tunnel, the darkness swallowing them whole. Behind them, faint shouts echoed. The guards had discovered their escape. Ethan's heart hammered, his every step fueled by a single thought. He had her back, and now he would burn the world to keep her safe.